Hi, I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amberlicious.
We're Untitled Nerd Network. This was a fun little thing, and I wish they would do it more. But this is our review on Black Widow, as you can see down at
Mm-hmm.
the bottom of the screen, and we watched this on Disney Plus. So
Yep.
we paid the $30, got it on Disney Plus. We own it indefinitely now, which will probably only pay off for about 4 months because it's probably going to be coming to Disney Plus. I'm guessing by the holidays.
You would think so.
My guess is by the 1st of December it'll be on Disney Plus for free, if not quicker. But right now during the theatrical window, we can watch it as much as we want.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll probably will watch it again sometime in the next few days because this was a pretty good movie.
I'm sure I'll probably watch it with Joseph when he comes home.
Yeah, this
So,
I'll be completely like the movie for me started out really hot. It cooled off
mm-hmm.
from about the 15-minute mark through like probably the end of the first act, like the first third of the movie. And then once the group came together and you started like
They
about the time they
get him
show.
out of the prison,
Yes,
really.
the prison scene is where it started.
Yeah.
Like the prison scene was the beginning of the movie for me because up to then it was kind of a slow burn and it was very intimate and wasn't.
Well, it had to give you a little background story.
It
It
did.
did.
It didn't feel like a Marvel movie until everybody got together.
That's fair.
And here's a couple of observations just talking about the release window and everything. Um, COVID really hurt this movie,
Yeah.
I think, in regards of expectations and stuff, because this would have been a great movie to watch May of last year.
Mm-hmm.
But it was delayed, and
Mm-hmm.
in the meantime, we have already seen WandaVision, Falcon and
Yeah.
the Winter Soldier, and most of Loki. We are still an episode behind. We haven't watched episode 5 yet.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where we're at. And this movie wasn't able to maintain that epic level like we've become accustomed to over the last 6 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a good movie, don't get me wrong, but people, I feel like we've gotten spoiled with these Disney Plus shows, and I don't think that this movie would have been affected like that if it would have released on time. Like
I don't know.
I really like I enjoyed it, but a lot of the I think a lot of the people who are not going to enjoy this movie are going to enjoy it for that specific reason. This is not a blockbuster, world-shattering movie. I mean, it does build a ton
Uh-huh.
towards the future, and there's a couple of more little building blocks here and there for what I'm assuming is going to be the Dark Avengers or the Thunderbolts or whatever the hell it ends up being in the future. They're you're seeing Natasha's, I guess, younger sister.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to be part of the group with John Walker, U.S. agent,
Yeah,
and
that was the end credit scene.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the spoilers.
Right.
But this was actually a pretty busy movie in regards to plot and crap that's going on. So
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. You weren't excited for this movie to begin with.
true. This
I mean,
was
you could have cared less if this movie got made because even before it was even probably a thought, and
people were
Sarah,
begging for it.
when Sarah was like still doing reviews with us and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, I'd love to see a Black Widow movie." You were already a hater,
I
so
was very much against her getting a movie.
yeah, because you're like, "Oh, that won't be good. That won't be good. Her character's boring." So I'm taking everything you're saying about this movie with a grain of salt because you were a hater before it even came out.
No, I know, and
So
up until Here's the
In
thing.
fact, hold on. No, let me, before you finish that. In fact, the only reason you wanted to go see this in theaters was because you just wanted to see a Marvel movie in theaters. You didn't care what it was.
Yes.
So,
This the COVID break, which basically made it 2 years since we've seen a Marvel movie in theaters. Like they could have served up a 2 hour video of a dog turd sandwich, and I would have been excited to go see it if it had the Marvel logo and a good post credit scene. But so, to completely, just full disclosure, that's a huge part of why. It's about 90% of why I wanted to go see this movie. Because before COVID, I didn't give two shits about this movie. Like, they could have wiped it off the release slate, and I would have been like, yeah, okay, let's bump something else up in that spot. You know, like, I'm personally not really looking forward to the Hawkeye series. But now,
oh, now thanks to the post-credits
yes,
seminar.
now we
What a
see,
traitor.
now we see that what I'm assuming the Hawkeye series is going to be a direct sequel to this.
Obviously.
That's going to
since
be...
since she sent her sister after him, fuck. It's like, this is who killed your sister. Don't... Oh, okay. Don't give any background to what actually happened. Just say that he killed her, you know. I was like, oh, this bitch is stirring up trouble. Like,
Yeah. Her name...
I was iffy about her anyway. And then now I'm just like, oh, somebody needs to kill this bitch. Cause
she's going around. She's setting up the pieces on the chessboard, getting ready to do something.
yeah.
And, like,
She's acting very incompetent when she is not.
she is going to be... Because I'll go ahead and tell you, General Ross, who was trailing Black Widow through this whole movie, he's not going to be around forever. He may, but she is the new asshole that is causing problems in the government for them.
Yeah.
Sharon Carter also is going to be another one.
Yep.
We've got, speaking of, we've got our pop vinyls here. I don't have any Black Widow pop vinyls. We just throw them up here just for a little bit of decoration to be like, hey, Marvel.
Right.
Logan, you better quit that.
Look
was-
at you like, what am I doing?
It's clawing my laptop bag.
Oh,
Anyway, that is in true UNN video fashion. We had to stop in the middle of it to get onto the cats.
Yeah. But anyway.
This movie does a hell of a job of telling Natasha's backstory without telling her backstory. Like, they never really showed anything explicit. Like, I was expecting this movie to be like half her time as a kid, or,
No.
you know, her time.
It just gave, like, the important part. And that was it.
There were like just little grainy clips here and there of her training as a kid, and
Yeah.
that was like the opening credits. The opening of the movie before the title rolled and all that was super cool because she was part of a family. Her younger sister, her dad and her mom, and the parents were like moles in the United States.
Yep.
You know, living over there, spying, kind of like the show The Americans. You know, it was like Russian spies living in America, you know, kind of reporting back and all that. They had all this stuff going on, and so they finally they get found out. S.H.I.E.L.D. comes after them, which is pretty cool to see S.H.I.E.L.D. I, honest to God, expected to see Agent Coulson,
Yeah.
like, appearance, or like, you know, Nick Fury or something. Just brief,
Just
you
brief,
know,
yeah,
being like the
and-
ones that were after them. But no, that
No,
didn't
not
happen.
this time.
This was just, I think that was done for like character, because you needed you needed to feel bad for them, because once Coulson or Fury would have shown up, you would have been rooting for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
but it's just faceless S.H.I.E.L.D. agents coming after them in black vehicles.
Yeah.
Then, you know, there was a point in time where Shield felt like that in the MCU. Like in the Thor movie, the first Thor movie, Shield, you didn't have a lot of insight into Shield. They just showed up and took all your computers and stuff and was like, "Hey, you know what? Sorry." And, Coulson tried to be the mediator, tried to be nice and look, I'm sorry, I understand where you're coming from, that kind of thing. But for the most part, Shield was a bunch of pricks. If you were on the outside looking in, you didn't really know what was going on. But we had that. There's a ton of widows who were like under mind control, scattered throughout the world, probably hundreds, if not thousands of them. The whole thing was they're trying to. They basically get the family back together.
Yeah.
20 years later, 21 years later, technically, and the mom, the dad's been in prison. The mom's been working for the Red Room. It's kind of, I guess, a double agent.
Yes.
I thought
you don't think she is, but it reveals in the movie that she was. That was a nice little twist in the middle of the movie.
And speaking of that twist, and I brought this up to you actually, this is why I enjoy watching these movies on Disney Plus instead of going to the movie theater. Because if I see something that's really kick-ass, you can pause it, and I can be like, "Hey, check this! Here's some story behind this," and you're not missing other stuff while you're like. Because I hate interrupting a movie, but I would like to think some of my knowledgeable commentary kind of adds to it.
It did
a little bit. But yeah, there was a technology that they showed on numerous occasions in the Agents of Shield TV show, where it was basically like this electronic shield that went over your face, almost like a image inducer or whatever, and you would wear a wig in your face, and it would change your face, it would change your voice, and everything, and you could impersonate somebody. And that was used in Agents of Shield a lot. Matter of fact, one of the characters, the technology even screwed up during like a battle. It got shot or got electrocuted or something, and it grotesquely deformed her face. And this same stuff was in Black Widow, which was really cool that they referenced that. And I was like, they've been spending so much time, it seems like, over the past couple of weeks saying that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not canon MCU, only to throw that little Easter egg in there. And I'm like, really? Really? Y'all gonna do
they
that?
might as well rip it off, hell. Might not be canon, but as well rip it off, though. Rip off some ideas. I don't know.
Which is fitting, because they spent most of the time ripping the mask off.
No, that was actually really clever and really cool.
I liked it. I very much enjoyed. You had this one dude, like this old dude, and you could tell he was just a rich, sexist, non-feeling asshole.
Oh, God, yes.
And,
he was like the leader of the Red Room, right? Basically.
Yeah, he was the guy who ran it.
I forget his name. Start with a D. It was Russian.
Yeah, God. So. Yeah, it would be nice if I could remember that. I'd have to make notes from now on. But the one thing that I just loved was, this dude's been high and mighty, sitting up on his chair for, decades.
Forever, yeah.
And running everything and yes sir, yes sir.
He was about to, everybody, he was literally about to take over the world.
Yeah, everybody around him is just a bunch of yes men or yes women, and those are by his creation. Actually,
he created all that,
and
he learned how to put a mind control on him.
To see him just lose his shit when Natasha mocked him, was so satisfying. And I feel like I do. This is just like Captain Marvel. There was so much women empowerment in this movie that no wonder a lot of people on social media hate it. Wow. All those people
and there was, some good comic relief throughout this movie too.
There was a lot of it.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
The scene where dude is which actually he plays the sheriff or the chief of police or whatever he is on Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I hope to see him more in the MCU, which is, it's funny because the MCU right now is becoming so, even though they've gotten rid of, like, Captain America, Iron Man, they've gotten rid of a handful of characters who have either died or
Retired.
just retired or done something. Despite all that, they are.
We got some new ones
It
coming up.
seems like for every character you lose, they're adding 4 more.
Yeah.
And that's happened. That happened a lot in this episode or this movie. You got realistically 4 new characters. The 3 members of the family, Taskmaster, which I could see Taskmaster becoming a hero type.
Eventually, yeah.
And that was another thing. A lot of people were pissed off, and luckily it didn't get spoiled for me. But a lot of people were upset on Twitter, especially that the Taskmaster in the movie did not follow at all the origin of the Taskmaster in the comics. The one in the movie was a woman, the one in the comics was a man. It almost seemed like in the comics maybe Taskmaster was a mutant because they were born that way.
Yeah.
There wasn't any kind of special thing.
What you told, based on what you told me before we started this. Yes, that's what it sounds like. He was a mutant that accidentally discovered he had powers,
and here they did it.
It really sounded shitty, if you ask me.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and tell you, when they first started working on Black Widow, they didn't have the rights to the X-Men.
Got you.
And so technically they couldn't be a mutant because Fox had that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was a big part of why they did it how they did it.
That's true. That could be true. I think they did it well, though. I really liked, the whole, it turned out to be his daughter, and, Black Widow felt bad about, having to, because she thought she killed him to begin with.
Yep.
And she had to explode the building that his daughter was in, and, she felt really bad about that.
My only 2 gripes about this entire movie. Number 1, the kind of slow first act. Number 2, it pissed me off so bad that at the very end, everybody leaves her there. But she wanted to.
Yes.
She wanted to stay there by herself, and you've got Ross and probably 35 cars pulling up. They're ready to get her. And she's standing there just waiting on them, and then it shifts to 2 weeks later, and she shows up with colored hair, a haircut, blah, 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 all this other stuff.
It doesn't show how she made it out there.
And you don't know how she did it. And I'm like, I feel like, to me,
it's cheap.
It did. It felt cheap. And to me, I literally cannot imagine how she got out of that. They're like, well, it's better left to your imagination. I have nothing in my head that tells me, hey, this is how she did it.
I mean, did she kick everybody's ass? Did she kill some people? What happened? Did she just run? I mean, who knows? Hide behind a bush. Remember on Rick and Morty when they just hid from Scary Terry?
Yeah.
And he gave up.
It's like, well, if we could hide, that's not something he'd be telling us.
Right. Maybe she just hid. Till everybody was gone. Oh, well, she's not here.
Well, I feel like they could almost,
They could have showed that in 5 minutes, huh?
I mean, hell, maybe she actually got captured and then escaped.
Yeah.
I mean, who the hell knows? I don't...
Oh.
She has her MO, I guess, is she gets in a horrible, horrible situation that looks like there's no escape. And then suddenly the curtain is pulled back, and they're like, "Oh,
she's been working on all kinds of bullshit the whole time."
She is so
smart.
She meant to be here. She meant to have this, loaded gun to her head and surrounded by 50 men because that's how she got the info. And that was her.
Her and Milena working together, and you had no idea. God.
Yeah.
That and they had swapped faces and. Like, it was a very elaborate plan, and you
Like-
were genuinely surprised when it happened.
I almost, and that you would think that she's done that so many times over the course of the MCU that
We wouldn't fall for it.
yeah, but it's weird because I almost think somebody needs to do a video of
How many times has Black Widow fooled us?
yeah, like how many times has she put herself in an unwinnable situation because that was the plan all along? Like, because it was like the first time you see her, well, she was in Iron Man 2.
Right.
But when you see her in the Avengers, she's like tied up, and has like 4 or 5 armed guards around, and that one old dude, who I guess was on a date with her at the time, and then, captured her, and it was just all that, and she's sitting there, teetering above a 8-story fall. And Coulson calls, and she's like, hey, I'm kind of in the middle of an interrogation right now. I'm getting info from these guys. And the guy's like, what? You're tied to a chair. And, she just busts out of it and beats the hell out of everybody. While tied to a chair, she kicks everybody's ass.
Yeah, and she tricked that man to tell her everything.
Yes.
Yes. Like, she's amazing, really. I really think she is very underrated as a character. I do.
She's so overshadowed
by
all the superpowers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Because
her greatest
her
strength.
Smart.
Yeah.
She's very smart. She was trained very well.
And you could tell that she had already had training when she was with the family.
She knew what was up.
She disarmed that one guard and was ready to take everybody down as like a 10-year-old. So it's like, holy crap.
And the difference is, as the mom or Melina said, is how did you still keep your heart? That's the difference. That's why she's so smart, and she still has heart.
Yeah.
She still has heart, unlike a lot of people who have been through that sort of thing. But it's like she said, the mom said, pain makes you stronger. Well, it makes your heart stronger too if you still got it.
So what do you give this movie?
I give this movie... It's not an 11, for sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a 9. Gonna give it a 9. I don't think it was like 10 material, but it wasn't a crappy movie either. It was really good. The plot was really good. It was a great background story. It just really, even with the post-credit scene being what it was, I really just don't feel like it was 10 material. It's definitely a 9 though.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch it again probably with Joseph. I may watch it again another time. It's not high on the list. But it wasn't a crappy movie either. So, 9 it is.
I'm giving it an 8.
Giving it an 8?
Yeah.
That's pretty fair.
It's, I rate this movie personally along the lines of... Now, again, my movie tastes in the MCU fluctuate in different, because sometimes I like movies a little more. There's like 5 or 6 movies that I can consider the cream of the crop, and they kind of alternate as to whether they're my favorite movie or not. And among those is like Endgame, Ragnarok, Infinity War, Winter Soldier.
Yes.
And then you've got like your middle movies, which for me are like Iron Man 2, the first Captain America, the first Thor movie, Black Panther. Oh, Doctor Strange is up in my top tier. This movie is in the top half of my middle tier. Because I consider this movie on par with like Iron Man or Black Panther. And it's not like a favorite of mine. It's not going to be a go-to comfort movie every time I'm sitting around bored and want to watch a movie.
Right.
But this is going to be like maybe a twice yearly viewing for me. I can see that. Good movie. And we'll see how it ages, because watching it a second time, already knowing a lot of the gotcha moments and plot twists and stuff like that, I'm not sure how those will affect the movie now that I know everything that's happening.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was a good movie. It was entertaining. It had some comic relief, some really good action sequences. I had some people, I heard on Twitter that they were complaining about the special effects in a couple of scenes, and I was actively looking for that while we were watching the movie, and I never saw it. So if anybody has any problems with the effects and you're watching this, please leave in the comments what the hell you were talking about. Because I wasn't able to look, and I was actively looking. So
Right.
Okay.
Let's do
But I guess
it.
that's it for this one. Next movie, if I'm not mistaken, is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten
I think
Rings.
so. Yeah, I think that's the next one.
And then I think we've got the Eternals, and then we've got Spider-Man, and then the first movie of 2022 is going to
I
be
can't wait for Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's
I'm
going to
so
be.
fucking excited for Spider-Man. I
all,
love Spider-Man.
everybody that I'm hearing from now, all the Hollywood insiders and stuff is saying that Spider-Man No Way Home is seriously going to be the best MCU movie of all time. Like,
I love it.
But anyway, we'll see. We'll see what we have to look forward to. We got a lot of good movies coming up, and that's another thing. I think that all these other movies are going to be so great that Black Widow is going to kind of be that kind of unknown, and it's going to get overlooked because
it will.
There's been fantastic, huge, world-shattering movies on each side, and this one's going to kind of fly under the radar, I think.
Yep.
People are...
You'd be like, hey, do you want some background on Black Widow? Watch this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But a good
It
movie.
was still good, though.
Not, to me, not top tier, but a fantastic, fun film. It was really... And, I could see us probably going and seeing it in theaters just to get that full effect. I feel like a lot of the action sequences were probably going to be pretty solid in the theater.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, but it was still fun to watch at home.
Yeah.
So.
But I love the convenience of Disney Plus. If you're looking for convenience and the ability to watch this movie as many times as you would like, the $30 on Disney Plus
It is worth it.
is very much worth it, and we're going to probably end up
Yep.
doing both, Disney Plus and the theater. So anyway, that's it for this time. I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amberlicious.
We are Untitled Nerd Network. We will see y'all. I guess the next review we're going to have up is going to be Loki tomorrow, episode 5.
Yep.
So we'll see y'all then.